Ever wonder why that amazing night out, that big promotion, or even an incredible moment of intimacy leaves you feeling a little hollow afterward? You're not alone, and it's not a coincidence. We all chase those highs, those moments of pure joy, success, or connection. We tell ourselves, this is it. This is what happiness feels like. But then, almost inevitably, a strange emptiness creeps in, a quiet dissatisfaction that makes us wonder if we're doing it all wrong. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this deeply human experience and uncover the surprisingly simple reason it happens. If you've ever felt that post-peak lull and wished you could find a way to make genuine contentment last, stick around. Because understanding why you feel this way isn't just interesting, it's the first step to finding a deeper, more enduring sense of peace in your life. Think about it, that incredible vacation you planned for months, the one that finally arrived. You're on the beach, sun on your skin, drink in hand. Pure bliss, right? And it is for a moment. But then, almost before you know it, a little voice whispers, "Is this it? Is this all there is?" Or maybe it's the thrill of a new relationship, the intense chemistry, the feeling of finally being understood. Then, after the initial rush, things settle, and sometimes that vibrant color dulls a shade or two. This isn't about being ungrateful or pessimistic. It's a universal human experience, this feeling of an echo after the euphoria. It's like climbing a mountain, reaching the summit, and while the view is breathtaking, there's also a sudden silence, an anticlimax, because the climb was so much of the experience. We anticipate, we strive, we achieve, and then a little sigh. We're hardwired for pursuit. Our brains are fantastic at motivating us to chase goals, whether it's finding a partner, making money, or experiencing pleasure. During the chase, there's a powerful cocktail of neurochemicals fueling us, primarily dopamine. Dopamine isn't just about pleasure, it's about anticipation of pleasure. It's the wanting chemical, not necessarily the liking chemical. It drives us forward. So, when we finally get what we wanted, the dopamine hit associated with the pursuit starts to recede. We achieve the goal. The chase is over, and our brain, ever efficient, stops pumping out those powerful motivators at the same rate. This sudden shift, this reduction in the neurochemical cocktail that made the pursuit so exciting, can leave a void. It's not that the experience wasn't good, it's that the engine that propelled us to it has idled down. We often mistake the excitement of the chase for the lasting satisfaction of the outcome. We confuse the fleeting thrill with genuine contentment. And when that thrill inevitably dissipates, we're left scratching our heads, wondering why the ultimate prize didn't deliver the ultimate, everlasting happiness we'd been promised, or promised ourselves. It's not a flaw in you, it's a feature of how our brains work. Have you ever bought something new, something you really wanted, and felt that rush of excitement? Maybe it was a new car, a fancy gadget, or even just a new outfit. For a while, it felt amazing. You showed it off, admired it, enjoyed it. But then, after a few weeks or months, it just became normal. The shine wore off. Suddenly, you started noticing other things you wanted, other upgrades, other next big things. This phenomenon has a name in psychology, the hedonic treadmill. It's the idea that humans tend to return to a relatively stable level of happiness despite major positive or negative life changes. We adapt. We get used to our new circumstances, even the really good ones. That dream job you landed? After the initial excitement, it eventually becomes just the job. That incredible partner? The spark eventually settles into a comfortable but less intense glow. Imagine being on an actual treadmill. You're running, working hard, making progress. But the treadmill itself is moving beneath you, so you stay in roughly the same place. Your effort is real, your progress is real, but your relative position doesn't change much. That's what our pursuit of external happiness can feel like. We keep running, keep striving for bigger, better, newer experiences, hoping each one will finally push us over the finish line into permanent bliss. But the finish line keeps moving. The human capacity for adaptation is incredible, but it's a double-edged sword. It helps us recover from tragedy, but it also dulls the edge of joy. We calibrate our internal happiness meter to our current circumstances. So, what felt like a huge win yesterday becomes our new baseline today. And to feel that same level of excitement again, we need an even bigger win tomorrow. This constant recalibration is what drives the emptiness. We achieve a goal, experience the high, then adapt. The high becomes the new normal, and we're left feeling like something is missing again, prompting us to seek the next, even more intense experience. It's a relentless cycle, a treadmill that keeps us running, but never quite arriving at a place of lasting satisfaction if our only metric is the intensity of the high. We're effectively training ourselves to require more and more stimulation to feel the same level of excitement. Here's where we often get tripped up. We confuse pleasure with fulfillment. Pleasure is a sensation, often intense, often immediate. It's the delicious taste of a gourmet meal, the physical intimacy, the thrill of winning, the laughter with friends. It's wonderful, and it's a vital part of a good life. But pleasure is, by its very nature, transient. It comes, it goes. Fulfillment, on the other hand, is a deeper, more enduring state. It's not a fleeting emotion. It's a sense of meaning, purpose, and congruence with your values. It's the quiet satisfaction you get from contributing to something bigger than yourself, from mastering a skill, from nurturing a deep relationship, or from living in alignment with what truly matters to you. Think of it like this. Pleasure is a really delicious snack. It hits the spot, it tastes great, but it doesn't sustain you for long. Fulfillment is a nutritious meal. It might not always have the immediate, intense wow factor of the snack, but it nourishes you, gives you sustained energy, and leaves you feeling genuinely satisfied for hours. When we chase only pleasure, we're constantly on the hunt for the next snack. And just like with snacks, too much can leave us feeling sluggish, even a little sick, and certainly not truly fed. The emptiness after the peak experience often stems from the realization that we've indulged in a fantastic snack, but we're still hungry for something more substantial. This distinction is key because many of the experiences we discussed, sex, success, fun, are heavily laden with pleasure. They provide intense, immediate gratification. But if they're not connected to a deeper sense of meaning or purpose in your life, if they don't align with your core values, then their fleeting nature becomes starkly apparent. The pleasure passes, and without that underlying structure of fulfillment, the void feels even more pronounced. It's not that pleasure is bad. It's that it's insufficient as the sole foundation for a deeply satisfying life. We live in an era of unprecedented connection, yet it often breeds an equally unprecedented sense of inadequacy. Thanks to social media, we're constantly bombarded with curated highlight reels of everyone else's peak experiences. Every scroll shows someone else's perfect vacation, their incredible achievement, their seemingly endless string of fun nights. This creates a brutal, invisible pressure. We see someone's best life and unconsciously compare it to our own reality, which includes the mundane, the struggles, and yes, that inevitable hollow feeling after our own peak experiences. We start to believe that everyone else is living a life of perpetual bliss, where their highs never fade, and their successes are endlessly satisfying. This comparison traps us in a loop. We pursue the next peak experience, not just for its inherent joy, but also to prove to ourselves, and perhaps to our online audience, that we're living a full, exciting life. We might even find ourselves performing happiness rather than genuinely feeling it. We take the perfect picture, craft the witty caption, and then wait for the likes, which provide another fleeting hit of external validation. But here's the cruel irony. The very act of constantly comparing ourselves to these idealized versions of others only exacerbates the feeling of emptiness. Our own genuine moments of joy, however profound, can feel diminished when held up against 1,000 filtered, amplified versions of someone else's. We start to doubt our own experiences, question their validity, and wonder if we're somehow deficient because our internal landscape doesn't match the external spectacle we see online. The modern mirror, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, or even just the stories we hear, reflects a distorted image. It shows only the peak, never the valley, and certainly never the quiet, steady climb or the comfortable plateau. This constant exposure to manufactured perfection makes us perpetually hungry, always feeling like we're missing out, always chasing a phantom ideal that doesn't exist, even for the people posting it. It strips away the unique personal value of our own experiences and replaces it with a measuring stick of external approval. This isn't a new problem. Philosophers throughout history have grappled with the ephemeral nature of pleasure and the pursuit of lasting happiness. The Stoics, for example, understood this deeply. They weren't advocating for a life devoid of joy, but rather a life where our contentment isn't utterly dependent on external circumstances or the fleeting highs they provide. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic emperors, talked about finding peace within oneself, regardless of external events. He wasn't saying don't enjoy a victory or a moment of connection. He was saying don't let your inner peace be held hostage by them. Don't build your entire emotional edifice on things that can and will eventually pass. He'd probably look at our hedonic treadmill and nod knowingly, saying, "Yep, been there." Then there's the Buddhist concept of attachment. The idea that suffering arises not from experiences themselves, but from our clinging to them, our desire for them to be permanent, or for them to always feel a certain way. We attach ourselves to the feeling of the peak experience, and when that feeling naturally subsides, we feel a loss, an emptiness, because our attachment to its permanence has been severed. These ancient thinkers weren't killjoys. They were astute observers of human nature. They saw that the relentless pursuit of external gratification and the desperate clinging to fleeting pleasures inevitably led to disappointment and a sense of dissatisfaction. Their solutions, in various forms, centered around cultivating inner resources, mindfulness, gratitude, self-awareness, and a focus on virtue and meaningful action. They understood that true contentment doesn't come from continually adding more stuff or experiences to our lives, but often from subtracting what isn't essential, and from finding value in the present moment, rather than constantly striving for a future peak. It's about shifting our focus from chasing the next high to appreciating the steady hum of life and building a foundation of values that pleasure can complement, but not replace. It's a profound reorientation from seeking externally to cultivating internally. So, if chasing the next high is a treadmill and pleasure is a fleeting snack, how do we find that deeper, more satisfying feeling? It's not about giving up fun or success. It's about shifting your relationship with them. It's about integrating them into a larger, more meaningful framework. First, acknowledge the cycle. Just knowing about the hedonic treadmill and the dopamine system can be incredibly liberating. When that emptiness creeps in after a great experience, you can recognize it for what it is, a natural physiological and psychological response, rather than viewing it as a personal failing or a sign that something is inherently wrong with you or the experience itself. It's not an indictment, it's just how the system works. Second, cultivate meaning and purpose. This is the antidote to the snack problem. What truly matters to you? What values do you hold dear? When you align your actions with these values, even simple everyday tasks can feel more fulfilling. Helping a friend, learning a new skill, contributing to your community, these activities might not give you the intense rush of a peak experience, but they build a steady foundation of genuine satisfaction. They're the nutritious meals that sustain you. Third, practice gratitude and presence. Instead of immediately looking for the next thing after a high, take a moment to truly savor what just happened. Not just the big moments, but the small ones too. The warmth of your coffee, a kind word from a stranger, the beauty of a sunset. Being present in these moments, allowing yourself to feel the simple joy without immediately dissecting it or comparing it, helps build a different kind of inner richness. Gratitude anchors you in the good that already exists, rather than constantly chasing what's next. Fourth, redefine success. Is success purely about external metrics, the promotion, the numbers, the accolades? Or can it also be about growth, learning, connection, and peace of mind? When you broaden your definition, you open yourself up to far more opportunities for sustained satisfaction, because you're less dependent on those specific, often fleeting, external achievements. It's about shifting from an addictive pursuit of intensity to a more balanced appreciation of depth and duration. It's not about avoiding pleasure. It's about making pleasure a wonderful addition to a life that's already rich in purpose and meaning, rather than the sole driver of your happiness. Imagine a life where the highs are still exhilarating, but the lows don't plunge you into despair. A life where success feels genuinely earned and contributes to something deeper rather than just leaving you wanting more. A life where moments of fun are cherished, but don't define your entire sense of self-worth. This isn't some utopian fantasy, it's a quiet revolution in how we approach our own happiness. This revolution starts within. It begins by understanding that the problem isn't the experience itself, but our often unconscious expectation that these peak moments will somehow permanently alter our baseline emotional state. They won't, and that's okay. The beauty lies in their transient nature, in their ability to remind us of what's possible, of joy and connection. Instead of fighting the natural ebb and flow of emotions, we learn to navigate it. We learn to appreciate the afterglow without demanding it last forever. We shift our focus from getting more to being more present, more grateful, more aligned with our true selves. This path isn't about denying pleasure or avoiding success. It's about building a strong internal foundation so that when the waves of pleasure and excitement come, you can ride them, enjoy them fully, and then gently return to a stable, peaceful shore, rather than feeling tossed around by the currents. It's about recognizing that enduring contentment isn't a destination you arrive at after a peak experience. It's the journey itself, woven into the fabric of your daily life, built on meaning, connection, and a deep appreciation for the present moment. It's about choosing to cultivate a garden of inner peace, rather than constantly chasing after fleeting fireworks. The fireworks are beautiful, yes, but the garden provides lasting nourishment. And that, my friends, is the hidden reason for the emptiness and the powerful secret to filling it, not with more, but with deeper. We've explored how the natural fading of dopamine after a peak experience, combined with our tendency to adapt to new levels of excitement, what we call the hedonic treadmill, often leaves us feeling empty. We distinguished between fleeting pleasure and lasting fulfillment, and saw how modern comparison culture exacerbates our hunger for more. Finally, we looked at ancient wisdom and practical ways to cultivate a deeper, more resilient sense of contentment by focusing on meaning, gratitude, presence, and a broader definition of success, rather than solely chasing the next high. What's one small thing you can do this week to shift your focus from chasing the next peak to appreciating the present? Let me know in the comments below. And if this video resonated with you, please hit that like button, subscribe for more philosophical insights, and share it with someone who might need to hear this. Your support helps this channel grow and allows us to keep exploring these important ideas together.